Hi everybody. I'm really excited because I'm using some new technology today that we're gonna try out. So I will need your feedback if it worked or not. But hi, I'm Joanna Ke. This is Tea with Ke. I am live, right? Yes, I'm live. It's always a little bit disconcerting when I first go live, and I'll get used to it eventually. But welcome to Tea with Ke. This is Industry Insight with Joanna Ke. I'm a professional script reader, writer, actor, and producer. Thank you for joining me today, either if you are here after or you're joining me live. I'm happy that you're here with me. Today I'm going to do something that I haven't done before, which I thought would be pretty interesting, which is that I'm going to go over the first 10 pages of a script live with you, so that you can see what a script reader's perspective, and the kind of things that I look out for, and that stand out in a script for me as a reader, the stuff that looks good, the stuff that doesn't work. And I chose a script today that is a great script. It's won awards. It's older, and I chose it because it's the script that I usually like to tell people to read. Now, before we begin, I'm going to do a little technical stuff here. And I'll let people join, and I'm going to drink my tea because I very much need it. Hello, I saw somebody join. How are you? You feel free to say hi, and if you don't want to, that's okay too. And you know what? I am going to, oh, here we go. Okay, I'm just going to take care of a little bit of technical stuff, share this to my timeline so that we can spread the word about what's going on right now. Okay, so that is shared, and I'm going to pop in the link. So if you are joining me today, it will be best if you have this in front of you, the script that I'm going to be going over today. And if you don't, that's all right, because my technology is going to allow you to, can I pin that to the top? I think I can. Pin comment. Ooh, I've never pinned a comment before. How cool is that? I have so much technology. Technology is so cool, you guys. Okay. All right. So, like I said, I want you to tell me if there's any technical issues. Even if you're watching this afterwards, please let me know. And I pinned, if you look in the comments, the script that we're going to be going over today, that I'm going to be reading live with you, and analyzing it from a script reader's perspective, is pinned in the comments. So click on that, and it's okay if you can't do that, you can't have it in front of you, because I'm going to try something to see if I can get it in front of you. So welcome. Today is Wednesday, May 23rd. And I'm very happy to be here with you. I read a lot of scripts yesterday. Usually, I go. My maximum is 3 scripts in a day. That's a very full day for me, and so yesterday was a very full day. But I got to read some really cool scripts. I got to read a fairy tale, I read a thriller, and what was the last one? Was a biopic. And so I love reading a variety of scripts when I get a chance to do that. And I got a chance to do that yesterday, which was fun. And what else is going on with me? There's an article that just came out. I did an interview with Voyage LA magazine. And that was released yesterday. Here, I will put that in the comments if you'd like to read it. You can click on that link there, and you could read my interview. It's also pinned right now. It's pinned to the top of my page, that interview, if you want to read it. So that was really cool to have that published and out there. And I am crewing up for short film. We are going to be shooting. Oh, I just hit my cabinet. We're going to be shooting next in about a week and a half. Woohoo! And we're going to be shooting in Barstow, California, which I'm excited about. And then I also have some really exciting news about my film Protectress. It's currently on a festival run, and I will again pop the link in here if you want to check out my film Protectress. I haven't announced this yet, so this is the official announcement. We were accepted into the Los Angeles Diversity Film Festival. Yay! I'm very happy. I'm very happy. It's so perfect. It's so perfect for the film because it features women. It stars a half Asian woman. America, she's also a diverse woman. And so it's just, diversity is all what our film is about, which was my goal. And so I was really hoping we would get into this film festival, and we did. So that film festival is in July. We don't have our screening dates or date and time just yet. But as soon as we get that, I will announce it and I will let you know. So that's in the LA area, which makes me very happy because it's convenient for me to go to it. And of course, if you want to check out any other screenings of Protectress, you can just go to the website, and we've got many screenings throughout the rest of the year. I think the next one is in June in Palm Springs at Palm Springs Comic-Con. Anyways, you can just go to the website and you can check out the trailer, check out our screenings, and sign up for the newsletter, because then you can see a cool behind the scenes video. My throat has been killing me a little bit lately. I had some late nights on set a couple days ago, and we were outside, and just my throat started to hurt. So I always love how the tea helps my throat. So this is, I'm back to drinking my yerba mate because I've been having late nights. I have been having a lot of work. So yerba mate for me today. Yerba mate with my stevia. And if you're drinking anything, and I really want to know if you guys like tea and there's a certain tea that you like. I love trying different teas. So please let me know, even if it's just a brand or something. I have, like, my dream is to have a whole kind of library, like organized library of teas in my kitchen. Like, that would be amazing. So, all right. So before we get started with my analysis of this script, this is a live 10-page analysis of the first 10 pages of a screenplay. I have to caveat, this is for 18 and up because this script is R-rated, and there is language, and there's some graphic scenes, sexual reference, whatever in it. So if you are not 18 years old and you are watching this, you should not keep going. And if you do, shame on you. So this, today I'm going to be analyzing and going through the first 10 pages of 8 Mile. 8 Mile, and the reason why I chose 8 Mile is because it is the screenplay. When people ask me, what's a good screenplay to read, or they ask me for recommendations, I always think of 8 Mile. And there's a specific reason, and I'm going to show you why today. Even in just the first 10 pages, you're going to be able to see why this script won the awards that it did. Oh, Arda's here! Hi, Arda! Arda's an amazing first AD. If anybody's looking for an AD, go find Arda. So, like I said, I'm going to be going over 8 Mile today. Now, this is an older script. I can't show you, unfortunately, any of the current scripts that I'm reading, for obvious reasons, confidentiality, blah, blah, blah. But this script, when people talk about finding your voice as a writer, or that, making a certain style to your writing, I love to give this script as an example because it is so fantastic in the way that it's written on the page, in conveying the tone of not just the story, not just the genre, but the world that these characters live in. It is like, it pulls you in right away, and I'm going to show you what I mean by that. So if you have not read this script, like I said, the link to the script is pinned in the comments. So if you want to bring that up while I'm talking about this, I'm going to read it with you live. I'm going to tell you the things that stand out to me as a reader and why this is such a well-written screenplay. So like I said, there's language in this, there's some graphic scenes in this. It starts out with something very graphic. And so this is written by Scott Silver. And I'm just going to check if I can do something. So I'm using some new technology. I'm going to see if I can put this screenplay on the screen for you. So if you see the screen, if you can please, if you see the script when it comes up, can you please let me know in the comments? Okay, so here we go. I'm going to try and show you the script. So here, okay, so let me know if you see that. So you should see Untitled Detroit Project on the screen right now. And if you do, please give me a couple likes or just some hearts. Give me some kind of sign that you see it, and that would be very helpful to me. So like I said, this is 8 Mile. At the time of this draft, it was titled Untitled Detroit Project. And the screenwriter is Scott Silver. So you can kind of see this draft is from 2001. Thank you, Cheyenne. Thank you for letting me know that you can see it. Woohoo! Oh, I'm so happy this is working. Okay. Okay. So let's start going over the script. This, I don't remember if this is the actual script that they shot from, but we're going to, so the first page, quote, "If you have the guts to be yourself, other people will pay your price. Rabbit Angstrong. John Updike, Rabbit Run." Okay, I'm just going to talk about just this. So I'm going to talk about just that, just how it starts off with that. The fact, normally, obviously, on the first page, you are going to have your fade in and you're going to start your screenplay. This sets the tone. I'm not saying that you need to start your script with a quote and you shouldn't do it just because you're trying to copy somebody. But the fact that this starts with a quote, it's already bringing me into a certain world. So let's go back and we can look at it. Okay, so this is the quote. This is the very first page of the screenplay. "If you have the guts to be yourself, other people will pay your price." So we're already brought into something. We get the understanding that this is about courage. We get the understanding that this is about somebody going after their dreams, somebody trying to be themselves in a world that might not be so accepting. And it's also interesting because it's like, well, who the hell is this rabbit person? So it brings you into the story. It makes me as a reader want to read more. It's engaging. Okay, so let's go on to the first page. So again, and I'm not used to saying some of this language out loud, so I was a little bit nervous about reading this screenplay out loud to you guys, but whatever, I'm gonna do it. Okay, so let's go back. All right, so this is the beginning of the screenplay. "Run it under a harsh green fluorescent light. Close on an angry blonde punk, his head flying in and out of frame, hard against some girl's face, banging against a dirty mirror, sweating, moaning, girl." And then her dialogue, which I don't want to say out loud. "He's fucking her on top of a nasty sink, fast and furious, her short skirt hiked up high around her waist, a wool cap pulled down tight over her face. This is Jim, James, B, Bunny, Rabbit, B Rabbit, and Johnny Smith Jr. To us, he's just plain Jimmy." All right. Okay. So I'm smiling because this is a fantastic character introduction. Okay. So right away, we're in this world. We're like, whoa, like we just got brought into something. And we're like, okay, what's going on here? There's a blonde punk girl. I'm going to go back to I'm going to bring the script back up because I think it's best for you to actually see it. Okay, so, just the beginning. Let's talk about that very first line. "Run it under a harsh green fluorescent light." Now, that is not the way people normally speak, right? That is not a complete sentence. That is not proper grammar. However, if you know this script, and you should know this story by now because this script, this is an older movie, it's in line with the world that this is set in. You could actually hear, a rapper or Jimmy or Rabbit, saying, "Run it under blah, blah, blah." It's goes in line with this world. And so we're bringing you into a certain world. So stylistically, the way this is written, is already fantastic. It already brings me into something. So also want to talk about the way that they introduce the character here in the description. This is Jim, James, B Money, B Bunny Rabbit, B Rabbit, and Jimmy Smith Jr. To us, he's just plain Jimmy. All right, now I love that so much because, it speaks to the world. So in this world, this guy is known by all these different things. Now, yes, there's some incorrect formatting there. Normally when you introduce a character, it's going to be in all caps so that we get the idea, okay, this is the first time we see this character on screen. Usually we have an age. Despite that, the fact that we have, it is in all caps. Sorry, at the end it is in all caps. Let me bring you back here. Okay, so at the end of the sentence, it's in all caps. But the fact that they bring in all of those different names, it's like, okay, again, you're bringing me into a certain world where this guy is known by all of these different names, and so it's interesting. It's strange and it's interesting. Okay, so we're gonna keep going. Okay, so the girl. She's got dialogue. They're in a desolate bathroom, wet, full of noise, beats thumping through the walls, fists banging on the door, the girl moaning. It's all so fucking loud. All right, we'll keep going. Close on Jimmy, catching sight of himself bouncing up and down in the mirror, ignoring the girl. He's somewhere else, gone, always moving. We hear her coming. Jimmy stops, stares. The harsh light crowns his head, a burning halo. He doesn't look so good. Cold sweat. Jimmy, I gotta run. She jumps off the sink, yanks down her skirt. Girl, pissed. Why? You still nervous? You're lucky I ran into you because I'm trying to help calm you down, but it's like you ain't even fucking here. Jimmy pulls up his pants, distracted. What? Wasn't it good for you? Girl, yeah, I love the way you fuck me, rabbit. Why do you always gotta ask? Before Jimmy can answer, a queer look crosses his face. He rushes over for a dirty stall, and we hear him puking his fucking brains out. Okay. Alright, so character introduction. This is only one page, and we know so many things about Jimmy already. So, we know that he's a nervous guy. We know that he's in his head. For some reason, he's having sex with this girl to help him calm himself down. So obviously, this goes to social and mental development. It's just a random girl. Like, if you see in the script, this isn't somebody that means anything to him. So we get an idea already of the way this guy is as a person immediately. One page, just that one page. So again, a fantastic character introduction is one of the things that really hooks in a reader, hooks in anybody within the first 10 pages, because you get a clear picture. It's like we're thrown into this world. Here's this guy, he's having sex with this girl, and he's completely distracted. He's so distracted and he's so nervous that he throws up. That's the kind of guy he is. So if you think about when you're talking about character development, first of all, character introduction can be so effective because it sheds light on who somebody is. And, for example, I'll talk about myself, when I get nervous, I don't throw up, but Jimmy does. And now we know that about him. And we know that he tries to do these things. Having sex maybe helps him, calm himself down. He's not so prude, or he's not so, it's not, he's, what do you call it? I'm trying to think of the word conservative. Conservative, I guess, is the word. As far as, with his, sexuality, he's okay, with having sex, just anyone, because it just says girl. If you look at, that's another thing that's important to note. It doesn't say, Rose, or it doesn't state the girl's name. The fact that it just says girl tells me that this is just some random girl. It's not even important to him because this is from his perspective. So the other thing I want to point out is, let's go to the top there, the description of the location. So this again goes to effective writing, effective word choice, and a visual story. So let's reread this description. They're in a desolate bathroom, wet, full of noise, beats thumping through the walls, fists banging on the door, the girl moaning. It's all so fucking loud. So I love that. I love it. Okay, so a visual story. For a visual story, we're not going to get, and we're not going to say it smells in there. We're not going to, talk about any of that. We get what we're hearing. We get what we're seeing. We get what he's experiencing. You're not just talking about the look, but also the feeling of the scene. And you get that feeling through this description. So whenever I give the note that, a writer has used effective word choice, this is an example. This is an example of effective word choice and a strong description, because we get just from, this is not that big of a paragraph, and we get the idea, we get the clear idea of what this location and what the atmosphere is like in this location. So if you just think about, let's just think about, art direction or a director or an actor, these kind of things help artistically. Okay, so I get the idea this is a desolate bathroom. I get the idea that there's a lot going on outside. As an actor, for me, it's like that helps me inform my choices, how I'm going to act in the scene. And as an art director, it's like, okay, it's wet in here. There's a lot of noise. We have to have a sink in here. Those kind of things. You have to understand that as a screenwriter, you're not just writing a story for you. You're writing a blueprint that the entire production is based off of. And so all of these things help inform the rest of the team that's going to make this happen. So let's go on to the next page. I don't know if I'm going to get through the first 10 pages because I like talking about it so much. Okay. And so, like I said, also, always, if you have a question, don't, feel free and pop it in while I'm going through all of this. And even if you're, watching this afterwards, throw a question, or comment in the comments, and I monitor it afterwards. So feel free, if there's something you don't understand, or just something you want to say. If maybe you didn't like this movie, you'd be like, why the hell are you talking about this movie? And so whatever you want to say. Okay, let's keep going. All right. We're going to the second page now. All right, so Jimmy, he just threw up. He rushes for a dirty stall, and we hear him puking his fucking brains out. Page 2. Jimmy leaving the bathroom, still a little green, no sign of the girl, a line of guys waiting outside. They scream, shout. Jimmy just laughs and gives them all the finger, heads down the corridor alone into the darkness. Beautiful! It's just beautiful. And why is it beautiful? That description is so beautiful because, again, we are getting an idea of the atmosphere, of the scene, of the feeling, and who Jimmy is as a person. Oh, I just love that. Okay, Jimmy just laughs and gives them all the finger, heads down the corridor alone into the darkness. We get an idea of who he is. I love it so much. Okay. Let's keep going. All right. Okay. An underground hip-hop club, The Shelter, a basement cave. You can see the noise and the heat. Wall-to-wall kids, all that sex, mashing to the beat. Mostly black, some white, whatever. Jimmy wipes his mouth, slips on headphones, getting back into character. We hear his music, the song being pumped into his head. Angry, defiant, beautiful. He makes his way through the crowd, a hip-hop gladiator, walking tall, all attitude, everybody around him dancing to a different beat. We're sampling Tony Manero strutting down the block from the opening of Saturday Night Fever. Tony, checks out the girls, smiles their way, heading backstage, but this ain't no fucking disco. Before he gets far, some big bad dude stops him, shines a flashlight in his face, hollers some shit at him. Jimmy tears off his headphones, the song cuts out. Jimmy yells over the music, "Yo, the fuck you call me?" Big bad dude. "Where you going, dog? You ain't backstage, are ya?" Jimmy. "What you say about me?" Gets right up in the big man's face. "Do you even know who I am?" The big dude shines the light bright back in Jimmy's face. He's security. Big bad dude. "Fuck no, you want to go backstage or what?" Jimmy. "I ain't going nowhere till you tell me what the fuck you said, man." Before the big guy can respond, a skinny black superstar pulls Jimmy away. It's the Future, aka Future, Fuchs, and David Porter, also in his 20s. The Future's all good. Okay. So there, okay, so again, look at how much can happen in just one page. So we've just gone over only 2 pages and we know so many things about the protagonist. He's rebellious. He's nervous, but he doesn't like to show it. He uses music to help him get his confidence up, to get his courage. There's so many things that we already know, and it's only been 2 pages. So I see that there is a question from Dominic. Why did a guy like Quentin Tarantino get denied by script readers? That is hard to say. And so Dominic, if you look at, you might want to check out my, there's a Tea with Ke that I did about script readers, that could help to explain this a little bit more. But to put it into a nutshell, not every script reader is the same. Script readers are not all cut from the same cloth. So who knows who ended up, who was that reader that, got, that script in their hands. So check out, since we're going to keep going through this, I'm going to direct you to that video because I think that'll help you understand why a reader might have, passed on Tarantino's script. Because it really depends on the reader. It really does. And in that Tea with Ke video, it's all about script readers. I did it a few weeks ago. I'll see if I can link it in the comments for you. After this, I explain so much more about, how readers are, how some trained are and some aren't. Because actually the thing that I heard about, which script was it? Pulp Fiction. Whenever Pulp Fiction was going around, the first person who ever read it was immediately like, we need to make this. And they showed it to Harvey Weinstein. So I think it was Harvey Weinstein. Yeah. So anyways, check out that video. And then if you have more questions, then feel free to ask me. But it's really dependent on the reader. And if you want to send me a specific script, then you can... send it to me and then I can maybe go over the first 10 pages with it and then I can help answer your question. So all right, let's keep going. So we're on page 3. I wanted to say something about, anyway, let's just keep going. Okay, page 3. Future to the big bad dude. It's all good, brother. He's with me. Anyways, I feel a little weird speaking that way. Future drags Jimmy past the big guy backstage, laughing at him with love. You crazy motherfucker. Why didn't you just tell him you backstage for the battle, Jimmy? Jimmy. He said some shit. Pulls away from Future, spots something on his shirt. Fuck. Outside the club. Downtown Detroit. Bleak winter night. Cold as hell. A mess of kids waiting to get in. Jimmy hustles up some stairs. Future right on his tail. Future, where are you running to? Jimmy, I fucking puked on my shirt. Future laughs. First time's always crazy. You know what I'm saying? Didn't fucking Mary calm you down? A needy white guy in his late 20s with a big head. Cheddar. Bob Zarowski, a.k.a. Head, standing near the top of the line, sees Jimmy and Future heading in the opposite direction. He's slow. Cheddar Bob. Hey, Rabbit, where ya? Jimmy turns, gestures, 1 minute, I'll be right back, and keeps walking away. Future laughs, follows. Cheddar Bob grabs 2 black guys huddled against the wall, smoking dope. A short roly-poly freak in his early 20s named Soul George, a.k.a. Mr. Kingpin, and Mista, and his laid-back older brother, DJ, is, a.k.a. Israel George, Izzy, and is a pseudo-intellectual with dreads and glasses. All right. Let's talk about that. So you can already start to tell there is a style going now. Every time a character is introduced, we get to know a little bit more about who they are in this world based off of, there's that line of names. It's like, okay, we start to get a feeling, for what this world is like. And the fact that they're consistently doing that is fantastic because it's like, okay, that wasn't just a mistake. The writer intentionally did that because he's bringing us into Jimmy's world. So the other thing I wanted to, let me bring back the script. Okay, the other thing I want to point out here is there's a scene heading missing here. So you see where the number 4 is on the left side? Okay, so for whatever reason, and who knows, this was many years ago, and I don't know which, if this was not the shooting draft, but I don't know what at stage this draft was in. there should be a scene heading there. So that's improper formatting. So where that number 4 is outside the club, the good thing is that in the description, they are specifically stating at the very beginning, now we're outside, we're in downtown Detroit. That information would be in the scene heading. So I want to point something out. Formatting is really important because it helps us understand, where are we? There's other reasons why there's formatting. But I also want to point something else out. Obviously, this is not all incorrect formatting. So you can have the most well-formatted script in the world, but if the story isn't there, if it's not written well, who gives a crap if you have a correct scene heading? Like, it's about the writing. So, just because, like, I'm a reader, I'm reading this, just because, the scene heading's missing, I'm reading this, it's very well written. I'm not going to be like, pass, there were no scene headings. I would put a note and I'd say, if it was causing confusion for me, hey, it's a little confusing because there weren't any scene headings, but somebody needs to read this. Like, this is very well written. There's something going on here. So, formatting, there is no, there's somebody that was making a comment or asked a question the other day in a screenwriting forum, and they wanted to know what rules that screenwriters go by. There's no rules. There's no rules. So I'm going to tell you, you should always have and strive to have correct formatting, because that is one of the first things that makes me know that there is a green writer if the formatting isn't correct. However, I'm reading this script. You guys all just read it with me. Obviously, this guy knows what he's doing. Scott Silver is the writer here. You just read this and he understands clearly that this is a visual story. Even though that scene heading is missing there, he's very clear. We're outside the club now. We're in downtown Detroit. He sets the scene. So, technically formatting isn't right, but this writing is still good. So it would just be an extra note where I'd say, where the hell are the scene headings? Especially if it was confusing. But I'm actually not confused here. So I'm not saying, throw formatting out the window, but it's not, sometimes it can make or break your script, sometimes it can't. It just depends on your level as a writer. So let's go back to the script. All right, so we've just met Cheddar Bob, and we're going to page 4. They're Jimmy and Future's crew. RU-486, real unforgiven for killing, also the abortion pill. Come on, Rabbit and Future are gonna go in without us. Sorry. Jimmy and Future head into a dark alley next to the club. The crew follows. We can still hear the music booming through the walls. A lone spotlight pierces the gloom. Jimmy stops at a dumpster near the back. Soul. Tonight's the night, boy. You on your way up, yo, next stop, deal. DJ is. No doubt, no doubt. Sup, brother? Jimmy. Pulls shirt. Puked on my shirt. Cheddar Bob tries to get a closer look at Jimmy's t-shirt. Cheddar Bob, let me see. Jimmy pushes him away. Fuck off, Cheddar Bob. Jimmy scrapes the dumpster away from the wall. Grabs a trash bag hidden behind it. Soul. Laughs. Now listen, Bunny. If you battle that motherfucker Papa Doc, nigga was gonna talk some serious shit, yo. Jimmy opens the trash bag, starts rooting around outside. All the guys stop and stare. Jimmy pulls out some clean clothes from the bag. Fucking Janine and I just broke up and shit, and she took the house and the goddamn car. Alright, so let's talk about this page. So that was page 4. Let's just talk about the dialogue. So I'm just gonna bring up that section of dialogue so that you can see. Okay, so dialogue. It is natural. It tells me something about the world. It tells me something about the characters. There's use of subtext here. So when you're writing dialogue, it doesn't have to be, I want to say, proper English. There's things in here that show me as a reader how this character speaks. Also, I'm an actor as well. I read this, it gives me an idea of the rhythm that they speak. So you're not necessarily, when you're writing, the way that you write the dialogue is important because it helps inform the reader, what is this world like? It shapes the characters' personalities. So, you see that there's, tonight's, yo, and he emphasizes deal. Now, normally, you don't use underlining in dialogue, but if you use it sparingly, that's fine. I also want to point out there actually is a lot of use of parentheticals in this, and what I mean by that is, so DJ goes to hug Jimmy. In parentheticals, Jimmy pulls back. Jimmy, under a little bit lower than that, pushes him away. So normally you don't have that many parentheticals, but it all goes back to, are you using the parentheticals because you are giving somebody a line reading? Or are you doing it because it's helping to show something in the script? So let me go back to the action that Jimmy takes here. Cheddar Bob says, let me see. Jimmy pushes him away. Fuck off, Cheddar Bob. So this actually tells me something about the character. So Jimmy, and we've already started to get this idea about him. Jimmy is somebody who doesn't like people to get close to him. He's kind of isolated. And, he's, what is that? It's not rebellious, but he's just like, I'm take care of myself kind of thing. So again, we're getting character development from this, but what we're not doing is giving a line reading. We're not telling Jimmy to say it in a certain way. Those kind of parentheticals are not effective. So that's why these are okay and they work well. Okay, so let's go to page 5. Page 5. So Jimmy just told us that he and Janine broke up. Future. Again, DJ is. Maybe it's because you keep fucking all those other girls for a minute. Soul. Yeah, rabbit. Cheddar Bob. No, you just need to forget that Janine bitch, rabbit. Just think about all the fine bitches you're gonna get tonight after you win. Jimmy, looking through the garbage bag. She says she's pregnant. Whatever, yo. A long beat. Future. Now that's the heaviest influence in that movie right there, man. Cheddar Bob. I bet that bitch is lying, rabbit. Soul to Cheddar Bob. Let me ask you a question, bitch. I bet you probably never even busted a bitch before. Have you? Cheddar Bob turns red to Jimmy. You gonna stay at your mom's? Jimmy. Fuck, Bob. Pulls out a clean t-shirt from the bag. Yo, can I please get some privacy here, please? The three guys acquiesce. Walk toward the lit mouth of the alley. The future stays. Jimmy laughs. My lucky shirt. All right. Let's talk about those pages. Oh, Johanna is here. Hi. So let's just talk about that scene and how it's important and how it sets the world. So what we just saw is that we know that Jimmy is at this underground kind of rap competition and we are meeting his friends now. So in the beginning, you always, you need to establish your characters. So the way that this writer has done it is he's showing the camaraderie between the characters. Now, I'm analyzing this in a very intellectual way, and I want to emphasize that because I am looking at it from a reader's perspective. I'm not looking at this right now from a writer's perspective, and I'm telling you what I see as an analyst when I'm reading this. I say, okay, this is fantastic because what he just did was he introduced all the characters to me. I get what Jimmy's world is like. I get who's important to him. I get the personalities of his different friends. I get that Future is one of his friends that he really leans on and that's there for him. I get that this Cheddar Bob guy is somebody that annoys him a lot, but he somehow still hangs around him. And that Cheddar Bob is probably, all talk and maybe not a lot of action based off of the interactions between them, and that they probably make fun of him a lot, and that's just how their rapport goes. So this, the writer, the creative process is not the same as the analysis process. And that's one of the reasons why I wanted to go over, this with you. As a reader, I'm saying this is fantastic because I totally get who this character is. I get who Jimmy is. I'm understanding his personality. I'm understanding his social and his mental development. And we're understanding the world that he's in and the situation that he's in. Okay, so let's go on to page 6. So Jimmy's changing his clothes. He's just thrown up on his clothes. He's talking to his friend, and he has a clean shirt that he's putting on now outside of this club. Jimmy peels off the dirty shirt, shivering in the cold. It's my birthday in a couple weeks. Phew. And it's like, I gotta do something, something real. Puts on the clean tee. I mean, all I ever wanted to do was rap, yo, be an MC, but I know they ain't gonna like me in there. Future, if you rap, motherfucker. It don't matter. You just gotta stop giving a fuck and what other people gonna say, Jim. Jimmy hides the garbage bag behind the dumpster. Jimmy, people can't talk shit about me like that, yo. Future, just wreck those mics and gain some respect. You hear what I'm saying? It's like do or die. Time for me now. Fuchsia. Future laughs. I know what you're saying. I'm trying to get straight with the Lord these days. They both head back up the alley toward their friends and the light. Jimmy, are you high? Future, you're B-Rabbit, yo. I believe in you thoroughly. Jumps, shouts out. B-Rabbit, yo. You know what I'm saying? B-Rabbit, B-Rabbit. They meet up with the rest of the crew, and they all shout out, jumping, laughing, barking, B-Rabbit, B-Rabbit. All right. Dominic Manillo, I would like your perspective. Well, you just let me know how I can help you, Dominic. And you can send me an email at let me see. Here, I'll put my email in here. If you want to email me, Dominic, you can email me whatever I can help you with. Okay, so I'm gonna go back. So let's go back to this script. So what just happened here is in the beginning of a script, as a reader and as an audience member, we want to feel connected to the protagonist. So what just happened here is that was just the first 6 pages, and we know who the protagonist is. It's clear. Oh, hi, Daniel's here. Hi, it's good to see you. I hope your work is going well today. So you need to set who the protagonist is clearly in the beginning. This script does a great job of that by this point, and actually from the very beginning, from the very first page, we're really clear on who the protagonist is. So that's strong writing. We're really clear on who Jimmy is. We're clear on what situation he's in. And the other thing that's important is that we somehow relate to the protagonist. So there's different ways that can do that. Some people call it likability factor, that the protagonist is likable. I call it relatable because I don't like that word likable. I don't think that's what it is, because a protagonist doesn't have to be likable. It's that we have to somehow understand where they're coming from. And there's different ways that we can do that. One of the big ways that we can do that is through empathy and also through vulnerability. So with Jimmy right now, as an analyst, I'm looking at this and I'm saying, this is fantastic. Like, they've done it. He's relatable. 6 pages in, I'm rooting for him, and I want to see him succeed because we've seen a vulnerable side to him. So we've seen that this guy is nervous. We see his inner conflict. We see how he deals with his inner conflict. He throws up. He tried to have sex with a girl in the beginning. That didn't work out. He was so nervous he threw up, and he's like, he's trying to be tough in front of his friends. We're, all of us, that universal feeling, universal themes are important, and they can come through in character development. So for Jimmy, he has to get over his nervousness as well as his fear of what other people think about him. So when Scott Silver was writing this, he might not have been as detailed as that, being like, I'm going to have Jimmy do this or that. But as an analyst, that's how I break it down. I'm looking at this and I'm saying, Jimmy has shown that he's vulnerable. And he's not willing to just open up to any of his friends, but he trusts Future. And so we're setting up Future as a mentor type character, as an ally and a mentor for Future. So we get the idea of what Jimmy's world is like and who Jimmy is already. And we're 6 pages in, and we start to understand why he loves his friends. Look, they're all cheering for him, and then we want to cheer for him. So and so again, first 10 pages, I'm already hooked in. I'm rooting for Jimmy, and I want to know what's going to happen. All right, so let's go to the next page. Slam 2. So they're just cheering for him. Yay, yay, yay. Slam 2. Now we're on page 7. Close on a freestyle battle. Up on stage in the club, spotlights glare, DJ spins, 2 MCs squaring off, one-on-one. 2 60-second scoreboard clocks tick down. it's fight music. And right now, one very short brother named Little Lunatic, is battling Jimmy up in his face. He's spitting about, number 1, Jimmy's name, B-Rabbit. Number 2, Jimmy's skin color, white. Number 3, Jimmy's inexperience, first battle. Jimmy just stands there, his wool cap pulled down tight, bouncing a little to the beat, shaking out the nerves. Lil Tick's killing him. The clock hits 0. Time. The crowd goes crazy. Judge and jury. Future takes center stage. He's hosting the battle. Split screen. Future starts introducing Jimmy. Jimmy checks out the crowd all watching him. Cut split screen. The crowd shouting at Jimmy. White can't rap. Future finishes introducing Jimmy. Cut split screen. Jimmy staring out at the crowd at all those people judging him. The crowd screaming out his name, giving him shit, calling him names. Cut split screen. Jimmy. Future hands him the mic. Jimmy. Future hands him the mic. Okay, same thing. So we now know the same thing is happening on both sides of the screen. End split screen. Future hands him the mic. All eyes on Jimmy. Under the blinding hot lights, the beat kicks in. The clocks start. Close on Jimmy, bobbing his head up and down, collecting his thoughts, opens his mouth to rap, and people start booing him right away, calling him names. Booing, booing. Okay, I love this. I love this. Okay. And I'm so glad, if any of you are interested in screenwriting or you're interested in script reading. So what that page, I love this page. And I love that this is in the first 10 pages for you to see. Because this is showing how the screenwriter understands a visual story. So there's a lot of different formatting in here that you might not normally see in a screenplay. Split screen is something that the writer has chosen to use. And it helps to convey in a visual story, in this instance, how there is a lot going on. Like, even when I was reading it, it's like, wow, there's a lot going on here. And that is helpful because it helps us understand, like, okay, Jimmy is in this situation where, like, there's a lot going on for him. We already know that he's nervous. It helps to convey visually how there's so much happening around him until, bam, he gets the mic in his hand and the split screen stops. So it's like, this is going on, this is going on. We've got the split screen that kind of helps to visually convey that. And then he hands him the mic and all of the focus is on him. And then all of the focus is on the crowd booing. So we're getting his experience. I hope that makes sense. What I just said, how this conveys visually what Jimmy is going through, and how it's laid out on the page is so important so that we can understand how this is going to be shot. Because again, like I said, this is a blueprint. This is a blueprint for the rest of the production team, for the actors and for the crew, for everybody. Let's see, Dominic. You're a doll. I will email you because I'm writing a script now. Oh, fantastic. That's great. That's great. I'm so happy you're writing. And you know what? You can, here's my website. This is for anybody, if anybody wants to visit, my website, moviescriptmasters.com. That's my services and my rates. And one of them that I offer is going through the first 10 pages of your script with you. So, okay. So I want to also, actually, you know what? The other thing that's unique about this script is that there is the rapping. I was going to say something else. There's the rapping. There's the music that's in it. So this is a really cool thing for you to see also because, there's musicals that are made. This is obviously, about a rap artist. And so how did they do that on the page? And I love seeing that. How did somebody format on the page so that it was clear? So if we go back to the script, you're going to see how, what's his name? Lil Tick. He's spitting about Jimmy's name, Jimmy's skin color, Jimmy's inexperience. The writer isn't dictating what the rap is going to be because that is not what he needs to do. He does want to state specifically, these are the things that are said. These are the things that are getting to Jimmy that are said about him. But, we're clear that there's probably, we're going to get some actual freestyling happening in the film, on set, or they're going to let somebody else come up with that. But these are the important things that we need to get, that there is some, there's some kind of rap going on, and that's what he's saying. So that's what's important for us to know. It doesn't have to be, completely written out. In this instance. Okay, so let's go on to page 8. So Jimmy just got the microphone and everybody started booing. Page 8. Booing Jimmy, and nothing comes out of his mouth. Mute, burning up under the lights. Failure. Jimmy freezes, and the picture freezes. Rewinds and plays again. Jimmy opens his mouth to rap, and nothing comes out. Freeze. Failure. Rewind. Play. We're scratching the film. Back and forth and back. Slam 2 main title, fight music. We still hear the scratching, which leads us into our little song, the song we first heard playing in Jimmy's headphones. Our title song, the first song we heard playing in Jimmy's headphones. Poor Detroit. Jimmy runs through the diseased streets of his life, past all the crack whores and dead ends, holding onto his garbage bag full of clothes, headphones back on his head, his breath visible in the night air. He and it the only white around. We still hear our title song. Jimmy runs through a busy intersection, right on by the entrance of a ratty trailer park, running down a side street, running up to a big vacant field down at the end. Urban blight, dying grass, a graveyard for shopping carts, broken appliances, used needles, and other shit. Jimmy stops and screams at the top of his lungs, loud and long. Then he runs to a chain link fence at the edge of the field, looks both ways, making sure no one sees him, and hops over it. Jimmy makes his way through the maze of trailers up to a drab, double-wide mobile home, a beat-to-shit big-ass 79 Lincoln abandoned in front, down and out. Jimmy lets himself in, drops the garbage bag. He's cold, blowing on his hands, trying to warm himself up. The place is a dump. All white trash. Okay, again, fantastic descriptions, fantastic word choice that lets us know the atmosphere, the look, and the feel of a scene, but also it lets us in on Jimmy's world. So let me point out how in this description, where did it go? It talks about how Jimmy is the only white... Where did it go? I lost where it is. But anyways, there's somewhere in here. Did I lose it? We get the idea that Jimmy is in a predominantly, at this point, we really get the idea that Jimmy, the environment that Jimmy lives in and the world that he grapples with, he's predominantly lives in a black neighborhood, and it's run down and it's poor. So we get an idea of his economic status, which is important in this story because it plays into his journey. And the other thing I really want to point out is how the descriptions are formatted on the page. So just look at the top here. We could have fit all of this into one paragraph. It didn't have to be laid out this way. Same thing down here. Jimmy stops and screams out at the top of his lungs, loud and long. It reads differently on the page. How you lay out the words, like this. So, I'm just going to go down here to Jimmy stops and screams at the top of his lungs, loud and long. It gives you a different visual whenever it's laid out differently on the page. It's hard, if you just read that, here, let me go back to it. If it was Jimmy stops and screams at the top of his lungs, loud and long, if that was it, if we had put that into one sentence, we would not get the same effect in the read as when it's broken up like that. It reads like a visual story. We're going to see Jimmy stop on screen, and then we maybe cut to a different angle. He screams at the top of his lungs. Maybe then we cut to a different angle, loud and long. It doesn't mean... So you have to... as a screenwriter, you're thinking about the visual story. You're writing a visual story. And it's clear to me reading this that this writer understands what a visual story is. He's a strong writer. Now, again, I'm going to go back to pointing out how there are no scene headings in this. This looks like it was close to the shooting draft because the scenes are numbered. So that's what you see, the 7 and the 8 and the 9. Normally they're also numbered a little bit differently than that. The scene numbers are usually on the left and right side of the pages. So it's possible that there were scene headings in here and they just took them out. But again, I'm going to go back to how we are not unclear where we are. Scene headings are there to let us know, when, okay, this is a location, when they're going through and they're budgeting a film or they're creating the schedule, it's like, okay, this scene is in this location, and scene headings help with that. So I'm sure that when they were coming up with the schedule, that probably created some issues because they didn't have all of if they worked from this draft, they didn't have all the scene headings. And so it's important that you have them. This draft, for whatever reason, does not have them. But still, the writing is fantastic. And also just want to point out again how, there aren't complete sentences necessarily here. So number 8, Jimmy makes his way through the maze of trailers up to a drab double-wide mobile home. A beat-to-shit big-ass 79 Lincoln abandoned in front, down and out. There's just a certain style that this guy is writing in where at this point, I hope you can understand why this script, why I recommend it to writers, to screenwriters and readers to read it, so you can understand what a well-written screenplay looks like on the page. Let's see, I see Dominic has another question. Would you have given a yes to True Romance? I haven't read True Romance, so I can't say that. So I don't know. I can't answer that question. But obviously somebody did because it got made. And also it would depend on, so again, I'm going to refer you back to that, other Tea with Key that I did that was all about screenplay readers. It would depend on what company I was reading for, So if I got True Romance and I'm reading for a horror company, I would have said no, because that company, if I was reading for a horror production company, no, we're not going to do that because this is not in our wheelhouse. So that's it would depend who I'm reading for. It depend on a lot of things. And again, some of those that your question could be answered in that Tea with Key video about script readers. So let's just finish this out. Let's just finish this script. So we are on page 9. The title song still blaring in his headphones and on our soundtrack. Jimmy. Mom? He heads for his mom's bedroom. As he gets closer, we hear some noise, moans and grunts. A breathless scream. We hear sex, raw and loud. Not Jimmy. All he hears is music. Jimmy, Mom? He glides open the flimsy vinyl bedroom door and sees his mom fucking some guy. On top, riding away. Jimmy pulls off his headphones. The title song ends. Jimmy, in shock. Mom? Stephanie, Rabbit? Later, Jimmy's eating cereal in the lousy kitchen. Dry, no milk. A small TV, beer bottles, and comic books litter the countertops. A rusty electric space heater vibrates heat. It's almost quiet for the first time in the movie. His mother, Stephanie, slinks in wearing an oversized Osborne high sweatshirt and little else. Her hair's a sex mess. She slurs her words, a little, maybe a little drunk. She's a young 40, small and sexy in that bleached blonde trailer trash sort of way. Stephanie, you okay, baby? Want me to make you something? Ruffles his hair. Don't you think maybe you should have knocked or maybe called first or something? Jimmy, yo, the phone's disconnected. Stephanie, defensive. Yeah, I know, Rabbit, I know. I just gotta run down the phone place tomorrow. Jimmy, mouthful of dry cereal. And there's no milk. Ever. Stephanie, hey, I've been busy, Jimmy, still going to bingo or get a job yet? A thick, lame white dude, Greg Minor, stumbles into the kitchen on one good leg like he owns the place. just a few years older than Jimmy. All Greg's got on is a 2-day beard, pair of Osborne high sweatpants, and a shit-eaten grin. Greg slaps Jimmy on the back of his head. Rabbit, what the fuck you doing here? How about knocking? Jimmy doesn't react. Too tired to fight. It's clear that Greg makes him uncomfortable. Makes him feel like he's back in high school. Jimmy seems to shrink when he's around. Jimmy turns to his mom. Janine and I broke up. Stephanie, none of those girls are right for you, baby. She says she's pregnant? Jimmy nods. Stephanie, right. I bet she took the car too. Jimmy doesn't want to talk about it. Gets up. I gotta work in the morning. Stephanie, you and Future still at that Little Caesars in Warren? She lights a cigarette. Greg takes it from her. Smokes. No, Okay. That is the first 10 pages. Dominic, but it was denied. I just want to know why. Dominic, I really can't say because it depends. There's so many things that depend on why a script gets denied. It depends on but it actually did get made. So obviously it wasn't denied, but, it could depend on so many things. Like I said, it could depend on the production company. It could have depended on, maybe there was just other circumstances going on that had nothing to do with the actual writing. It could have depended on the reader. So I can't say because I don't know, what was going on at that production company at that time. Let me finish talking about this. I'm going to go back and talk about, so again, look, I moved the screen a little bit. We are establishing who Jimmy's world is once again. By this point, we have a very clear idea of what his relationship is like with his mom. And I also want to point out the use of music in this. So it's a little bit unusual, but not for this film, because this film is based around a rap artist and how music is important to him. And obviously Eminem played the title character here. And so, it's based off his life. And so it's an important thing. So we talk about the title song here at the top, the title song still blaring in his headphones and on our soundtrack. That is not a normal thing that is in screenplays. Normally you don't name specific songs or when songs are playing. That is something that will be decided later by the director or the composer. But for this, there is a difference because it's important. Jimmy's actually listening to the music and we're showing something about his character. It's an important aspect to the screenplay. So normally in a script, you wouldn't, dictate those things. Song plays here, song ends here. But for this, it's different because of the theme and the concept that we're going for in the script. So, and also I just want to point out again, the descriptions and how it gives us an idea of the atmosphere and the feeling. So here later, Jimmy's eating cereal in the lousy kitchen. Dry, no milk, a small TV, beer bottles, and comic books litter the countertops. A rusty electric space heater vibrates heat. It's almost quiet for the first time in the movie. So I love that. So not only the visual of it, but also when they say this is the first time it's quiet in the movie, there's something about the music that helps transport Jimmy. There's something about the music. And so, the auditory cues in this, it's not, like I said, it's not normal for a typical script, but for this, it's important. I mean, there's something about that. Like all of a sudden we stop and in the beginning, it's like loud bump, bump, bump. He's in a club. And then now we're in this trailer park. He's with his mom and he feels insecure with this guy, Greg, and there's just no music. And there's something about that. So again, it's the understanding of a visual story that it's clear that this writer understands. So that was the first 10 pages of 8 Mile for you from a script reader's perspective. I hope that was helpful. Again, like I said, the way that a story analyst, which is me, looks at a script is different than a way a writer does. And I'm a writer. I do not write my scripts this way. I don't go through and say, I'm going to, establish my character this way. I'm going to, whatever. The creative process and the writing process is different than the analysis process. But when I'm looking at it from this perspective and I'm analyzing, how effective is this story, I'm looking at all of the elements that we just talked about. Daniel has a question. Are the two Osborne High references tied together somehow? Just wondering. I don't know. I don't know. If you remember what pages those are on, then I can go back and look at them. But yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure about that question, Daniel. And if anybody has any other questions, feel free to pop them in right now, because this is the time. This is the time for the Q&A. This script is one of the ones that I will always refer people to read, so that you can understand stylistically what does it mean, to have a certain voice as a writer. What I don't like is when I do not like somebody telling you have to develop specifically your voice as a writer, because from my experience, both as a screenwriter and as a reader, the way that you write and you put the words on the page, it's not about you. It's about the story. So who cares if, you're like, well, I write my stories this way. If it doesn't serve the story, then it's not going to come off well on the page. And the best writers, like Scott Silver, he's probably not writing, in this kind of language when he's, let's say if he wrote, a romance set in the 1800s. He's not going to do the same thing, because it's going to serve the story. So this particular script has a very distinct voice. Some people say it's weird. When you read it, from a reader's perspective, it's so beautiful. The style that was written in is very conscious the way it was written. It wasn't just like, Scott Silver didn't just slap some things on the page. He very deliberately chose the way he was going to write it, the way that it was formatted, like that split screen that was used in the beginning, the use of the sound, all of it was intentional, to help bring not just the reader, but the viewer into the world to help understand who Jimmy is. So that was just the first 10 pages. And like I said, this is one of the services I actually offer. I'll go through people's writers' scripts with them, so that they can understand, if they're headed in the right direction. As an analyst, I said this in my video about script readers, we can tell, if you've read a lot of scripts, if a reader is very experienced, you can tell from the very first page if somebody's a good writer. And this is a very good script. This is a very good script. Daniel, Stephanie is wearing a sweatshirt with Osborne High on it on page 9. Then on page 10, Greg is wearing sweatpants with Osborne High on them. Maybe this is foreshadowing or something, or a setup for something. Okay, yes. Very good. And very good noticing again, Daniel. Very good, because again, we're setting the stage. So Osborne High is local to this area. So I don't know if Osborne High actually exists in Detroit, but the setting for this is Detroit. So most likely, I'm guessing that, I don't know, maybe if somebody knows who Eminem is, they could answer this, if Osborne High might be where he actually went to high school. But yes, really good noticing, because that's a detail that the writer actually put in there. That was very specific, that they know each other, that they go to the same high school, or they've been to the same high school. So again, specificity, like there's so much specificity in this. There's so much attention to detail. It's fantastic in the writing, in the creation of the story. So that was a really good noticing, Daniel. Yeah. Woo! That was a lot of talking. Like I said, like I normally read scripts, and so I don't talk as much because I'm reading, and so my voice is like, All right. So I hope if you guys like that, let me know. Because I'm thinking about making this a regular thing where I go through the first 10 pages of a script with you, and obviously the script would have to be online and available to the public so that we can go through it together. But if there's a script that you would like me to go through the first 10 pages of, go ahead and shoot me an email. It's in the comments. It's teawithke@gmail.com. You can send me the link to it because it's something that, I can't go through, unfortunately, something that's not available to the public yet. But like, 8 Mile is something that, it's been done, it was done years ago, and we can all see it together. And so if there's a script that you would like me to go over with you, let me know if you liked this. So maybe we'll do it again in the future if you liked going through the 10 pages, so that you can actually see what I look for as a reader, because it's different than when you actually see it on screen. By the time it's on screen, some of the things have happened to it. Other people have been involved. Obviously, everybody's contributed their efforts and their talent. But seeing it on the page, writers and readers, anybody who wants to be a reader, it's really important that you actually see what a good script is like on the page. And this is an award-winning screenplay. And hopefully you see why. And so we could also, even if you want to send me a script that you think is bad, so that I can tell you, okay, so that we're not just going over like award winners. Like I said, you should also read scripts that are not in the best shape, so that you can understand what makes a good script and what makes a script not as effective. Whew, that was a lot of talking. You're welcome, Daniel. I'm so glad that it was helpful. And so we will be resuming next week on May 30th. I forgot what month it was for a second. So next week, Wednesday, May 30th, and at 3 p.m. Pacific. I haven't decided what the topic will be yet, but I will announce that. If there's anything specific, again, at any time that you would like me to cover, you can feel free to put it in the comments and say, hey, I'd love it if you talked about this, or you can shoot me an email. Thank you for joining me today, and I hope you have a good rest of your day, and I will see you next time on Tea with Ke. Bye-bye.